Hello and welcome back to the U Guitar series. On the last episode I crafted the 3-part neck with hand tools. This time I'll need to coat the guitar body in epoxy. I also want to find out firsthand if you can achieve a professional finish with a relatively inexpensive polisher. I'll list the tools and compounds in the description below. Before we get to the finish, it's important that all the holes and cavities have been drilled out already. So here I'm just using a Forstner bit for the barrel guitar jack hole. Then I need to make sure the control and pickup cavities are covered in a layer of shielding paint. This makes sure that no rogue feedback finds its way into the electronic signal chain. I always prefer the aesthetic of string ferrules as opposed to neck back plates. For this, I'll need to drill the string ferrule holes with a Forstner bit. And now onto the bar top epoxy finish. In an ideal world, I would have used the penetrating oil as it protects deep inside the wood whilst bringing out its natural vibrancy. So here I'm just using a card to wipe on the epoxy as thin as possible. It will take some time and patience slowly building up the layers, but the patience will pay dividends later on when it comes to the sanding. After many coats, upon reviewing my work, I can see there are a few peaks and troughs. In order to fill these valleys, I'm applying a final thicker layer with a brush. Now we have a very thick layer of wobbly looking epoxy. In order to get rid of that wobbliness, I'll need to level sand the guitar. I use an oscillating sander for the flat areas, as the epoxy is so hard it takes time to get through it. It's important to take care around the edges and rounded surfaces, so it's best to hand sand these spots. Once the surface is level again, I apply several coats of satin poly, as that is the finish that will best suit the guitar. It's the same as with the epoxy. Afterwards I level sand and then I hand sand all the way to around 2000 or so. This will remove all the tooling marks, readying the surface for cutting compounds afterwards. I also want to experiment by pushing this beyond a cut and into a polishing and buffing territory, just to see if I can get a professional glossy finish. So I start with a cutting compound and a medium cutting head. For the satin finish I want, this would be a perfect place to just leave it alone. It's fairly easy to achieve and gives stunning results. Now I'm moving on to various polishing and buffing heads to bring the finish to a high gloss. I couldn't be happier with this gloss finish. It's my first time doing it. It looks perfectly professional with that immaculate glassy sheen across the body. So I'm spraying on a slightly soapy water mix to provide lubrication when working in the wire wool. I experimented with both circular and straight strokes, and I would definitely recommend working the wool in straight lines across the body to avoid swirl marks. After this, it will require a bit of cleaning up with methylated spirits. The final result is precisely what I was going for, a very subtle sheen that doesn't distract from the amazing piece of wood that we have here. So I'd recommend that's something you consider with your finish. Everything from matte to gloss has a very different aesthetic to suit different woods and colours. It can also have very different feels, with lighter fields tending to offer glide, whereas gloss tends to be a bit stickier. Whatever you go for, I can confidently say that you can achieve a professional finish with modestly priced polishers and lots of elbow grease. I hope you found this little experiment interesting. Please like and subscribe if you have, and join me next time when I'll be putting it together and seeing what it sounds like.